An hour of television can change everything.
3 women in a whippet. Wouldn't have seen that in a BBC studio when I started.
The allegations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein include his friend Prince Andrew.
Sam, let's stop pushing the palace. I want it for us.
You're chasing a story that we're never going to get.
This is the work.
I've never been smuggled into a palace before.
If I do an interview, the question is, why you?
With respect, you know how people see you.
Spell it out.
Randy, Andy.
With respect.
Congrats on making such an amazing and fascinating film about journalism across the pond in London.
Well, thank you. There's a lot more people than us, just us sitting here, who were responsible for that. But thank you very much. I think they'd be very pleased that you
We'll
thought
tell
so.
them.
Indeed. Now, Gillian, you play famed BBC journalist Emily Maitlis, who interviewed Prince Andrew so famously. But I was surprised to find out that you were somewhat daunted to take the role at first. Why is that?
Well, over in the UK, Emily is, she's very present in our lives. She was, the BBC on Newsnight for a very long time, and also, acts as a foreign correspondent, and she has a podcast that I listen to on a regular basis, and she feels like she's kind of in our solar system over there. So taking on somebody who is not only alive but in my proximity felt like it might be too risky, or it might be too that there'd be too much attention on how right I got it or whether it worked or not, and I just didn't know whether I wanted to subject myself to that kind of pressure. But I changed my mind, obviously.
And we're glad that you did.
Yeah.
My job is booking the people we can't just call up.
Hello, everyone.
You have a problem that won't go away.
We're looking at options. But there is a red line.
Billy, you spent a lot of time with your film counterpart, Sam McAllister. What was it about her character that you found the most interesting for you to tap into?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many things, to be honest. She's a gift as an actor, because she has so many quirks and skill sets and interests, and she's so curious and also kind of unknowable. She's so many different things that it was almost like, well, where do I start? What do I take? I didn't have the pressure of Gillian and Rufus had. She wasn't so public facing. There wasn't a great deal of her on YouTube and stuff like that. That's obviously all going to change now. But so I didn't have to become her as such. I had the joy of just cherry picking things that felt like, oh, that's going to be fun, and whilst also keeping her authentic and finding a way in emotionally for myself.
Everything's changed. The FBI are raiding Epstein's home. You can't stay silent. South drawing room, 2 chairs, 6 feet apart.
It's like a Western.
Make no mistake, if we don't get the tone right, the story won't be him. It'll be us.
Your Royal Highness.
Yeah.
And Gillian, after watching the film, I went back and I watched the original interview with Prince Andrew. So you did it so well in capturing it. I'd like to know, how did you prepare for capturing that moment, along with Rufus, perhaps, working together or separately?
We worked separately. I live in the UK and Rufus lives in Los Angeles. And we, I think when we both got the roles, we knew that the inevitable interview was going to be a big part of what we were filming, and that was what the majority of the focus ended up being on. So it was important to make sure that was, and people are so familiar with it, that it was important, for me at least, to try and get it as accurate as possible in terms of, just the details of the gestures and the head lifts and tilts and phrasing and tone. And so, it was a lot of studying the interview, condensing it down to the 20 minutes that our interview was. The original was around 50 minutes. So there's a young woman that I work with who I asked to condense it on video and audio, just our interview, and so I could listen to it over and over and over again.
Tomorrow night, in an unprecedented interview, we will hear from the Duke himself.
You know, I thought that all went very well.
Many people wonder why Prince Andrew agreed to the interview. I think that's pretty obvious. He was trying to change the image that he had at the time. My question would be, why do you think he felt so initially satisfied with how the interview went, that he felt so good about it?
I think because I'm not sure how in touch he is with, I want to say reality, that sounds coarse, but I feel like there isn't sort of, because I guess he's so privileged and he's grown up being surrounded by yes men and people who probably constantly agree with him. His judgment is, there's a lot of misjudgment there, and I also think there's something, we were talking yesterday about there being some sort of sense of arrested development even, where you know, there's something like, I don't know, he's just misreading a lot, it would seem. Yeah, I mean, it's a mystery. It's a mystery to me, but I would say those are, you know, sort of strong arguments for why that might be the case.
Well, again, thanks and congratulations to you and your entire team for a great film. It was really fascinating to see how the BBC press works as opposed to always seeing the American press. So it's a nice window into that. That was very cool to see.
Cool. Thank you.
The film is called Scoop, and it's on Netflix.
All across the world, every paper, on every news channel, this is the story.
Go away!
This is only going to get bigger.
This interview, does it matter?
Yeah, it matters.